You've shot over 10 Super Bowls at this point.
First Super Bowl for me was the 28-3 comeback. It was one of the only times that the moment has actually gotten to me. I'm like holding on the GOAT as he's realizing that he just lost the Super Bowl. And I actually started shaking.
Do you realize when you shoot it that, oh my God, I got it?
He threw 4 or 5 touchdowns in the first half, and I missed every single one of them. It's my most embarrassing game ever. What's impossible? What are people not doing now? Because the football field is the ultimate canvas. I just get to go out there and play with the camera.
Do you have one of those moments in your career that you can think of off the top of your head that stings a little bit? Welcome back to Someday Soon. I'm your host, Mark Fiacco. Before we get into the episode today, really quick, drop a subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Follow us on whatever audio platform you're listening to and across all social medias at Someday Soon Pod. We have a really great episode for you guys today. We are joined by two-time Emmy-winning sports cinematographer who shot Super Bowls, college football national championships, and NBA games galore. You can see some of his work currently on this season of Netflix Quarterbacks, as well as past seasons of quarterback and receivers. And right now he's also working on Hard Knocks with the Seattle Seahawks. We're joined by Austin Porter today. So Austin, thank you so much for joining us today. And as we kind of mentioned in the open, you're a cinematographer in the sports world, and I'm sure you do, some other things as well. But the sports world, as we know it in the social media age, is completely taken over. People are seeing highlights all over. If you're a sports fan, your feed's just full of incredibly looking highlights, and kids coming up now want to shoot their local high school games and all these things. And you've been doing it professionally now for quite a while. Where in your life were you when you found the sports videography, cinematography route, and why did you decide to pursue it at that time?
Yeah, when I went to school, I went to this college, Full Sail, and it's like a techie film school. And I went there because on the alumni page, there was this guy there, and he had a job with the St. Louis Rams at the time. So I was like, oh man, like maybe I could one day work for the St. Louis Rams. That'd be sick. And then I started to learn about like what NFL Films was. And like that's like the combination, because I wanted to be in the movie world. I didn't really like know if I would land a sports gig, but for whatever reason, I thought Hollywood would be easier to get into. Um, so I went that route. Originally, I thought at least, and so I started learning all these cinema cameras and lights and all that and all those things. And then I started to learn about NFL Films, and it was like, oh, they take all the movie equipment and they go and they film football games with that stuff. Like, oh, that's like the dream gig. That's sick. And so I landed an internship with them coming out of college, and that was kind of my like first like step in that direction of like, oh, okay, I'm gonna like really dive into this. I'm gonna like start going and shoot high school football games and just go trying to shoot like as much football as possible, because I feel like I have like my foot in the door there. And so that was kind of, I think, the start of like, I'm gonna really start trying to film football here instead of like maybe more like the Hollywood route, I guess you could say.
Right. And what NFL Films does is so unique comparatively to a lot of the people that work for the teams. A lot of times it seems like there's sort of this they share some things, but some things are certainly different between the quote unquote videographers and the quote unquote cinematographers on the field. There's different equipment, there's different shooting styles, and certainly NFL Films has their formula down pat to make their footage. Like you see an NFL Films highlight, it's an NFL Films highlight. What is your experience working with NFL Films, and how, at least from what you hear or from people that how does that differ, being a freelancer for NFL Films as opposed to having maybe a videographer or a content creator job role for a specific team?
I've never shot for a team, so I'm not really sure. For me, NFL Films is family. That's where I got started. So I'm very familiar with how like they capture things to put in different shows and documentaries and stuff. So that definitely does like drive my creative force, like thinking like I kind of know what they want, what they're looking for. I think just with each client I have, that varies and differs. Because I shoot more than just football these days. I shoot basketball, I shoot college sports. I've shot pretty much for every professional league, I guess, out there at this point. And so with each one, you kind of learn like they have their own things that they're looking out for, and I kind of try to adjust my style to get like what they're looking for out there. I think with NFL Films, it's a lot more documentary driven for sure. So I'm there to really try to find the story of the game. So I'm looking for like elements of storytelling elements, really, like what's the weather like? How could that impact the game? The wind, the cold, the heat, the snow, all of it. All of it could potentially impact a play, could potentially impact just the fan environment or like people's memory of the game. And so like I'm there trying to, I guess, archive like what happened there and tell a story of what, because each game is its own individual little story. So I don't know, I have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a massive football fan myself and also someone in the film world, this is like I think about this job, I'm like, this is incredible. This is awesome. This is the coolest job you can have. And on top of
Mhm.
that, it's not just that you shoot for the NFL and all this. You've shot countless Super Bowls at this point. You've shot every sort of major event for the NFL. You're kind of there isn't anything you haven't done with the NFL. What is it like when these kind of bigger events come in, when you get that call? Does it get, now that you've done it a handful of times, is it any less exciting than the first time you got to do it? And what is that experience like as someone working the Super Bowl? As, all NFL fans know it's the dream just to go, but, getting to work it, getting to shoot it, what has that experience been like for you?
It's always exciting. It's always exciting, especially at Super Bowl because it's the last game of the season. There's only one game. There's a limited amount of spots. I feel very grateful every time that I get to be, one of the people on the field there. Uh, it's and every season it's kind of its own story each season, and so I don't know. Throughout that season, at the end of the year, the Super Bowl is kind of like the wrap up to that. It never gets old. Like, I said that to my boss. I think it was the Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl recently. I walked up to him on the field, and I was like, "Man, this never gets old out here. Like, I just love it out here." I don't know, the energy, the adrenaline, like, it doesn't matter. I don't know. It could be the Super Bowl, it could be a regular season game, it could be a preseason game. I just love being out on the football field. It never gets old. I think each call for each game is just for me, it's like that little, like, bit of excitement, like, "All right, it's game day, let's go."
Right. Yeah, it's awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, like we said, as fans and as people that use cameras or love cameras, love movies, there's so many people out there that want to get to that point, and they're shooting. Maybe they're shooting their local high school games, or maybe they're just shooting pickup basketball out in the streets. Whatever they can
Heck
do to
yeah.
kind of get a hold of it, and it's great. You see these people all the time, but I think a lot of times when people are getting started out, of course, you gotta bump your head a little bit. You gotta learn. So a lot of people, as they start coming up, their footage looks the same, and they're kind of looking for these ways that they can kind of stand out and have their footage look how they want it to look and be unique to them. What are some of the things that from experience for you were the things that gave you the biggest leap forward in terms of my footage doesn't just look like what it did when you started, if that makes any sense? How do you take what you start your starting point, and how do you kind of develop that? What are some of the things that early in their career shooters should be thinking about going forward?
Well, there's like a by the book way to shoot sports for sure. Like if you want to do this professionally, like if you want to get hired by a client and just do a good job, there is like a foundation you need to have. And I think the biggest thing I see there, especially with like younger shooters, is like younger shooters are used to having more control over their edit. So they can handpick the like 3 best seconds of this shot and the 4 best seconds of this shot. And oh, I kind of got like the quarterback throwing in focus 4 clips ago. And then I can pair it with this catch I kind of got here and like make that look good. And that's just not gonna cut it at, like, a higher level. At a higher level, I don't have control over the edit. Like, when I shoot my shot, somebody comes and takes my card, and that's the last I see of the clip until it's on TV. So, I don't know who's gonna use it, I don't know how they're gonna use it or in what way. I just know that somebody's gonna go, "Okay, Patriots, Texans. I want that touchdown in the fourth quarter. Let's pull it up on Porter's camera, and it better be there from start to finish." And that's like from pre-snap till after the tackle, a smooth, steady, usable shot. Like that, I think that word usable was always in my head early on getting started. How much of your shot is usable and how many usable shots are you giving your client? And from that point on, like when you get that foundation, when you can just capture the play from start to finish with no little like focus hits, no misframing or anything, just a smooth, steady shot across the board, then you can start to dive in and figure out your style because everyone does have a different creative style. Like there's a lot of different ways to film a lot of different plays. So like yeah, like when I figured out, oh, okay, I can film a 10-yard bullet pass across the middle. I can capture that. Okay, now how do I want to capture that? Ooh, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, and start to figuring out like things that I kind of vibe with, and that I kind of like the way they look. And I love talking to other cinematographers too, because we all have like different opinions there, which I love, like different styles. Love it. I think we should not all be doing the same thing out there. So I love like, but across the board, we all have that base foundation of like, we're going to get the play no matter what. Like, we're going to get the play. That's not like a question like, did you get it? It's how'd you get it? But you start worrying about that after the fact. That's like, I would say that's like advanced stuff. At first, like, don't try to do anything too crazy. Don't try to do any crazy camera work. Just make sure that you get a clean highlight. And then when you when you can like put together a full edit of that, of like full plays instead of pieces of plays, then I think that's when you start to like kind of dive in, start to play around. I mean, I'm still playing around. I'm on my like 13th year or something. Uh, and every season I'm like, oh, okay, I'm kind of tired of filming 5 yard outs like this. I'm kind of tired of filming like, I don't know, outside stretch zone run in this one typical way. Like, I want to switch that up this year, maybe do something different. Oh, like if I see this scenario, maybe I'll switch this up this year. Like, I'm constantly like trying to add to my game. So I don't know. It never stops for me. It never should stop. I don't think anyone can be like perfect at this, but there is that like base foundation that you have to have, I think.
Right, for sure. Yeah, for me, I primarily work in like the commercial world, and I remember going through like going through agencies and stuff, and that's always their biggest thing. Same thing. It's like it was my first experience where it's like you're gonna go out, you're gonna shoot this commercial, and it's gonna go to an editor, and you're not gonna see it until it's done.
Yeah.
And it's they're like all the time. They're like the easiest way to get rehired is not always to like absolutely knock the ball a mile out of the park, but it's just make sure it's tack sharp, make sure it's lit correctly, like all these just basic things, is as much usable footage as possible. And while you're talking about that, I have a specific shot of yours that I think of is the Drake made to Kayshawn Booty, which if I can put it in, I'm sure I'll get the clip pulled down, but I would love to add it to this. But I even saw it the other day. It was reposted on Instagram, I think a week or two ago, funny enough, from the NFL. And it's just this perfect shot. Everyone has seen an NFL film shot like this: ball out of the quarterback's hand, perfect spiral followed all the way to the catch. When you get a shot like that, I mean, it happens so fast, and you're shooting slow-mo. Do you realize when you shoot it that, oh my God, I got it? Or is this, do you have that sort of question in your mind of like, did I miss focus? Did I miss the frame? And what is like the initial thought like right after the play happens when something like that happens right in front of you?
I definitely know. I definitely know right away. Like, if I buzzed focus even for like a split second, I'm like, oh no. Um, and so for that one, I knew I got it. Like, I didn't even need to watch it back. I was like, oh, like, yeah, I was stoked about that one. Especially like I hadn't had a play like that come at me in a long time because we don't have control over that. So I hadn't had a highlight come at me like that and a play like that. I was kind of like hungry for one, and then for it to happen in the snow, and then the catch, it's like it's a reveal for me as much as it is for everyone else. So like it comes down and it comes into like a one-handed catch right in front of me, and he falls down and stands up like, I don't know, some epic king. I was like, oh, this. I was feeling it. Like, I was feeling it in the viewfinder. Like, it was sick. I'm not gonna lie. I was audibly. I was like, oh, like I think he thought I was a fan at one point. Because, like, dude, I was feeling that shot. I'm not gonna lie. One of my buddies on the sideline who shoots with me, he saw me and he ran down. He's like, oh man, I have to see that shot. Like, I see the look on your face, but like, let's watch it back right now. Like, it was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was, yeah. I knew immediately. I know immediately when I don't get it, and I try to like. Sometimes I'll watch the shot back. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe I didn't buzz focus here. It'll be all right. Like, no, every time. Like, when you mess it up.
Right. Yeah. And in preparing to have this conversation today, I listened to the 505 podcast, which they had Down the DP, who's also a freelance cinematographer for NFL Films on. And so I got a lot of great info from him about how NFL Films kind of operates. And he was talking about, all the different, like, if you're assigned a game, you'll be assigned to shoot a frame rate of certain action and all these kinds of things. What is your typical assignment with NFL Films? Does it change, kind of week to week or event to event? And then also, like, what is the pinnacle for you? What is the favorite thing that you like to shoot the most?
I guess, yeah, my typical thing is gonna be slow motion game action. Uh, I am typically assigned 120 frames per second. That's my like frame rate. and it doesn't really change. It doesn't change throughout the season, into the playoffs or Super Bowl or anything. That's pretty much like what I do. Uh, and then like as far as my favorite thing, I guess to shoot. I mean, I'm there to shoot the highlights. So whatever the best highlight is, I hope it comes in front of my camera, in front of my lens. Like I I don't know, like, different things excite me throughout the game. So, it's always, like, an unexpected shot, or maybe there's a shot that I've been working on. Like I told you, like, I'll create a checklist maybe of things I'm trying to do that season, and if I nail one, or if I get, like, a little bit closer to, like, a different style I'm trying to shoot, and it happens in a live game environment and it looks good, that gets me pretty amped up because I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, sometimes I'll theorize, maybe, like, this camera move in this certain play situation will look good, and I'll try it, and if it looks good and it plays out like I thought it did in my head, oh, that's an adrenaline rush for sure. I love that. I'm constantly, like, playing little, like, mini games like that in my head out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being, obviously, as we know, football is, there's domes, but it's primarily an outdoor sport. You're in the elements. You
Yeah.
have no idea what the light's gonna look like until you get there. And coming from someone like you said, when you were coming up, you thought you were gonna go more into the Hollywood route, so you're used to lighting scenes and all these things. What are some of the things you're thinking about when you get to the stadium and you start walking on the field about how you're gonna position yourself when you don't have control over things like the lighting or what the background looks like? You're kind of just thrown into this environment. You have to make it look as cinematic as possible. What are some of the first things that you consider, and how does that kind of adjust where you might be on the field?
Yeah, well, you do have control. You do have control. You have control over the light based on what direction, your camera is facing and where the light's coming from. You have control over the background based on how deep you want to take an angle, or wherever you place the camera. So it's amazing, like, how much control you actually do have on a set stage and how different you can make that look. I'd say for me, um, well, when you get onto the field, every football field's the same. So all these stadiums are different, but when you get on the grass, it's the same 100 yards. So there's a level of consistency there that no matter what, that can be expected. I like to take some laps pregame. I like to look at the environment, try to see like what characteristics of the stadium kind of stick out to me. Uh, different stadiums have different architecture, different light leaks. If it's a dome, sometimes the sun will peek in through a window, or sometimes I don't know, there's a cool spotlight coming from a certain direction. There's some good fans up in this corner. And so a lot of times I guess my like pregame ritual, if you will, I'll put in headphones and I'm listening to music and I'm just kind of vibing. And the music changes like based on, I don't know, how I'm feeling that day, and I'm just doing like some laps around the stadium, and I'm just getting like a vibe for, I don't know, the story of this game, and I'm trying to pair the music to it to almost create my little movie soundtrack. And I try to, I don't know, get this like little creative thing going on in my head, this like little creative storm where by the time I put my eye into the viewfinder, I'm just making a movie, and I have the songs in my head, and I'm just I have these like certain things that I'm trying to highlight. Ooh, the wind's whipping in Chicago, or the rain's pouring in Miami, or ooh, it's the dead heat of, well, like, honestly, some of these September games are crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. It's and so I'm trying to, like, think about that when I'm capturing the game, because sometimes it's a story in the game. Sometimes, if it's too hot and the players are panting as they're going up to the line, that's gonna impact that play, and if I'm thinking about that, then I can start to read what's gonna happen on the field, and I can start to tell that through a visual medium. Like, if the players are exhausted due to the heat, I wanna know that so I can get storytelling elements of that. And so I'm really thinking about, like, I just go and I sit, really, and I do a couple laps and I just sit outside. I don't hang out, like, inside where the food is much. I don't, like, even if it's cold, if it's raining, whatever, I try to be, like, out there in the elements, just try to kinda, like, soak it in, I guess, to really try to, like, feel, like, what these players are about to go through for the next 4 hours so that I can, like, I don't know, I can kind of anticipate what to expect. Like, the cold games, they're gonna have trouble catching the ball. There's gonna be like, the ball itself is gonna be hard to the touch, the hits are gonna hurt more, like, certain little things like that, like, you can start to expect if you, I don't know, if I try to, like, dial into the weather. So, I think pregame, it's really just about, like, sitting in like a meditative state and just kind of like soaking it in, I guess. Like I do try to like get into like a headspace. I don't really like talk to a lot of people. I kind of get in this like, I guess, a little zone, you could say. Uh yeah, and like that way by the time the game starts it's like seamless, and yeah, there's not like a big shift. There's not like a big emotional shift of like, oh, it's game time. I need to get into the action. Oh, okay. Like I need to like get my head right now. Like once kickoff starts, I'm already there. I've already been shooting for like an hour, and we're filming our movie now.
Right. Yeah. When you said the rain's pouring in Miami, I thought my brother's a big he's a Dolphins season ticket holder, and all I think of is going to games in September down there, and it's like I can't imagine looking at all you guys shooting on the field in the sun. I'm like, oh no, nope, couldn't, can't
But
manage
see,
that.
no, but like
Yeah.
I love it. I don't know, like.
Yeah. Absolutely dying down there. Listen, man, I'm from upstate New York. I get hot in our summers, so I don't need any of that Miami heat down there lugging around the Alexa or whatever you guys are shooting on down there,
Heck
just
yeah.
absolutely dying. But it brings up a great point too of like you're talking about like you get in the mind space of like what the players are feeling with in terms of what the environment's like, whether it be weather, all of that. In the same token, being shooting the NFL, I'm sure it helps tremendously to be a fan of the sport. The storylines going into the week. All these things that are kind of could be playing out on the periphery. Like you might know, hey, this defensive coordinator used to coach for this team, so let's find some interactions with him. All these sorts of things. What sorts of things do you recommend to people? And I guess this could kind of go to anyone in the cinematography or videography space about being familiar with what they're shooting, and how valuable is that to you?
I would say the more you know, the better. Like you can take that as far as you want to. I do know there are shooters I'm good friends with. They aren't so much a fan of the game. It's not necessary, and they just genuinely enjoy capturing highlights, but they don't necessarily know that much about football and the X's and O's. For me, I was like a huge football nerd growing up. I loved all that stuff. I love getting into like different scheming tendencies of different coaches, different player tendencies, different quarterbacks throw different ways. Different wide receivers obviously are stronger in different routes. I'm watching what personnel the defense has on the field and trying to see, how the offense is countering that. I really do get into the X's and O's. For me, I am trying to like predict the plays that are going on out there so that I can put myself in the best situation to get like, oh, if I think there's going to be a highlight, this is probably going to be the type of highlight that happens. And I'm going to put myself here in the highest percentage to get that highlight. I definitely think like that. And I get mad at myself too when like the coaches, I have like an internal battle in my mind with the coaches. Like I'm not gonna let them outsmart me, and like I'm reading their game. So like I'm trying to read what's going on out there and base my positioning on it. But it's not. I'm not gonna say it's like required. I'm not gonna say it's necessary. I know a lot of people that don't read into the game like that. For me, that's always been, I would think, like a strong part of my game for sure. And then I mean, knowing the storylines, obviously, knowing like the matchups, knowing that this star corner is coming in against this star receiver, and you might want to get shots of them battling it out. But then also noticing it might be interesting if they're not lined up with each other. If that's the storyline everyone thinks is going to happen, but then the coach says, no, I'm going to take this star DB, isolate the opponent's tight end, and then just double cover the other wide receiver with other DBs, like that's interesting to me. And so I'm going to tell that story too. So being aware of all these different storylines for me definitely helps. Like the offensive line, you can get a lot of juice there. Like knowing that there's a second or third string offensive line who is coming up against one of the lead leaders in sacks that year, and he's juiced up, and you can see the offensive line, man, he's like a little shaky, a little tired, a little nervous, comes up to the line, and maybe after a couple rough plays, you just know he's about to get destroyed as a is happening right here. Like you start to see those things line up. So knowing those storylines, yeah, for me, it's a big part of my game. It can get you in trouble if you're predicting the game too much and you're wrong, because I have to also decide whether I want to be in front of the play or behind the play. And so I'm trying to decide at that point who's going to make the play, the defense or the offense. Which side do I want to be on here? That is a little bit of a gamble. I hate when I'm wrong, love when I'm right.
Yeah, you know what? You brought that exactly where I was hoping you were bringing that to, because that was going right into my next question. Was it is one of, sports they're the most unpredictable things on the planet, especially when you're talking about a field that large. It's difficult. You got to pick what you're going to shoot and what you're going to miss depending on the play that could or could not happen in front of you. Do you
Yep.
have one of those moments in your career that you can think of off the top of your head that stings a little bit, maybe that you either guessed wrong, or maybe you had this moment happen, or you missed it, or it just something played out a little differently, and it resulted in you maybe not getting the shot that you were hoping to get?
Um, there's not really. There's a game. There's actually an entire game, for me. So I guess the game that stands out to me is I don't know if it was after his first or second year, but Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson comes into the NFL and he had a specific throwing motion and he played out, I think it was just his rookie year. And one of these off seasons and early on in his career, he got a new throwing coach. And so I had filmed Lamar a lot during these early years. I kind of like figured out his game, kind of learned him. And then he got a new throwing coach and he came out and he was throwing an entirely different ball. And I had never seen him throw like that before. I just, even the throwing motion was different. His release points were different. The speed of his release was different. And it completely threw me off. And so he comes out week one. It was against the Dolphins. I want to say it was maybe like 2017, 2018. And he threw 4 or 5 touchdowns in the first half. And I missed every single one of them, and it's
Oh,
it's my most embarrassing game ever. I could not figure it out, and like he had changed up his throw, and I had to relearn his throw on the fly, and I didn't get it figured out until like the third quarter. And at that point, they were already 5 touchdowns up, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm done here."
yeah.
And so man, like that one was tough for me. Uh, but I like, as far as, like, a single play, no, like, you never I don't know. That's part of the gig. I can't think about that.
Yeah.
You can't you can't, I don't know, you can't sit there and hang on a shot like that, like, even throughout a game, come the fourth quarter, if you miss, like, a first quarter or second quarter shot, I mean, you have to forget about it, because if it's bleeding into the third and fourth quarter and you're still thinking about the ones you missed, it's gonna mess you up. Like, you can't have any doubt in yourself. So, I mean, as far as, like, shots that I miss, they're very, short-lived. I don't know. I forget about them easily.
Well, that's good.
Never
That's
happened.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
great mindset to have. I think about that. That's funny you bring that's the game too, because I talk about this all the time. Like I said, my brother's a huge Dolphins fan, and we're also from Syracuse. So we saw Lamar Jackson when he was at Louisville kind of have a coming
Yeah.
out party against Syracuse here in the dome, and it was like, at the time, no one Louisville was like, all right, but they're like, Louisville's ranked. What are they talking about? Louisville's ranked. He comes in, rushes for like 5 touchdowns, hurdling guys left and right, and we're having this whole thing, and then he comes out to the NFL. His rookie season was a little bit rocky. We're like, all right, maybe he's not the guy. Sure enough, he comes out against the Dolphins right in front of my brother's face again, and just puts the whole team on his back, and has been absolutely electric since then. And
Yeah.
speaking of Lamar, when I watched your reel that's on your Instagram page, one of the shots that stuck out to me was of Lamar, and it was funny how it just clicked with me. It's a shot that is now featured in Madden. Whenever he was on the cover, I believe it was Madden 21. And as a
Oh,
guy
wow.
who grew up, I love playing Madden. I love football. I love like all these worlds colliding. Like that's something that some people would be like, oh yeah, whatever. That's just my shot. But to me, it's like, oh my god, if I had a shot in Madden, like that's a major bucket list thing. Do you have any of those sort of like, weird bucket list moments that might only, mean something to you, or just things that stick out in your mind, and it's like, oh, that was pretty cool. That meant a lot to me.
The Stefon Diggs shot for sure. The one I like, because there was a story behind that one of I saw him kind of standing in the corner. It's when he played for the Bills and he was watching the Chiefs celebrate their AFC Championship win, and I saw him kind of in the back corner of the stadium. I was with everyone else filming the Chiefs celebrating, and then I have this like thing that I like to do when I'm in big moments like that. I like to experience them myself for a little bit and not just like film the whole time. So I took a step back and I'm just kind of soaking in the moment, like, oh man, this is sick. I'm like on the field of the Chiefs. Like I'm in the Chiefs Stadium right here in Arrowhead Stadium, and like the Chiefs just won the AFC Championship. This is sick. And I'm just kind of like looking around, and I look down there and I see Stefan just kind of standing there, with his hands on his hips, and like no one was around. Not one photographer saw it. I was like, oh, this feels like a moment. But if I just beeline and sprint up to him, it's gonna kill it. Like, oh, camera guy, coming up. So I wanted to get the shot, but not interrupt the moment. So I like ran down the opposite side of the field until I looked like I was like going to the tunnel to leave the field. And when I was past his POV, like in his helmet, I took a left and I sprinted across the field to like sneak up behind him. And then I like come up behind him and I get these couple shots, and they went viral. I didn't expect it to go viral like that, but it did. It turned into this moment that I keep seeing all over social media. So that's pretty cool. There was another photographer that tagged along and got the stills of it. Uh, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like you get used to it. Like I'm sitting at a sports bar and I'm, ESPN's on the table, or I mean, up on the screens, and I look up and I see shots of mine, and it's just something that starts to become like a common thing that you get used to. I didn't even know about the Madden thing. That's awesome. That's sick. It starts to turn into like something that you kind of get used to, given the territory. Like I know like my footage goes out to a lot of networks. So I can expect to see it in a lot of different places. And for me, that's kind of like a mini reward. Like, okay, that shot was good. Everyone's using it. That's good. Okay, I'm gonna keep doing whatever I was doing there. Uh,
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, that's talk about a moment right there that goes down. I mean, that's brought up pretty much. I mean, once a year when a team gets bumped from the playoffs, that shot is basically brought up. Every single year
that's
of
wild.
Stefon there. It's pretty crazy. But as you mentioned, your footage is kind of going everywhere. You're shooting for all different kinds of things. And one of the things recently was you were a part of the Netflix series Quarterback, and I think you did. Did you do receiver as well? You did
Yeah, yeah.
receiver as well. So obviously, and you made a post about, following Baker Mayfield around for a good amount of last year. When those sorts of things come in, I know it's kind of, the show is in association with NFL film. So I'm sure there's some sort of, similarities to what you normally do as you're shooting the games and whatnot. But what is the difference when you get a job like that? How does your assignment change? And how does what you do on the field, how are you able to kind of carry that over into whatever the changes of the assignment may be?
Yeah. Like a show like that, instead of filming both teams, I'm just filming Baker. So instead of reading the storyline and trying to position myself based on like where I'm going to be on the field based on where the highlight of the play is going to happen, I'm thinking, where do I want to be based on where the highlight of Baker is going to happen? And so if he's going to throw a touchdown, where is he going to turn to celebrate to? Who is he going to run to? What are his tendencies? And so positionally, I'm trying to think about that. That I think that's like the big difference, because I'm still out there on the football field. I'm still running around with the camera. A lot of people didn't have any idea that I was doing that show all last season. Photographer buddies of mine I see all season long, they had no idea. So I'm out there on the football field, still with the camera, still doing my same thing. The only difference is now I'm just all on this one guy and everything he does. And with a character like that, like he talks a lot, he has high energy, he's making a lot of plays, and everyone's watching it on national television. So like if I don't get it, everybody knows. Like all the producers back home watching the game on TV, they know if I didn't get something. So
Right.
like I'm dialed, man. Like I'm like, and then but also since it's happening so fast, you can get easily into the mindset of like, oh, just throw the camera up and get it. But I'm still trying to film with like a cinematic mind. I'm still trying to get like cool angles. I'm still trying to make it look beautiful, and I don't know, I still have ideas for frames and stuff like that. And so that is like a little challenge within itself, is trying to predict where that action is going to happen and find your frame, and basically like hoping that the action happens within your frame. And you're like finding these like really interesting frames within the moment, because I don't want to just like be running around chasing and just have record on the whole time. I'm still thinking cautiously, like, how do I want this image to look? And, low angle, high angle, what lens choice I'm using. It all impacts the subconscious of when you're watching the show. So I'm still thinking about a lot of those things. It's nonstop. So it's like speed run cinematography.
Right. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And as you mentioned, off the top of here, you do, stuff like this is in association with Netflix. You also talked about shooting the NBA. You shoot college sports. What are some of the other assignments you're taking outside of football? What are some of your favorites, and how did those relationships come to be? Were they sort of a direct result of your work with NFL films, or people you met, and how do how do you build these other opportunities for yourself?
Yeah, I'm definitely I shoot a lot of games. I wanted to try to do this thing. I had never really seen anyone do it before. I wanted to make a career out of just shooting games. And so I have relationships now with pretty much every sports league in the country, and it just I don't know. I mean, networking is a big part of it. People definitely know you when you've worked in the sports space. I mean, it's really not that big of an industry. So you work for one company, and then some people that work for that company have worked for another company, and there's kind of this like spider web effect there. And so when you get good shots for I don't know. I mean, when I shoot stuff for the NFL, it goes out to so many different people. So many people, see it, and then I guess word has gotten around, and I've gotten phone calls. And I mean, it's just always a blessing when I get to go work for a new client. And so, if I can fit in college football games, it's all about where I can get to, like within a week. I'm looking at my week, and I'm like, okay, this Sunday I'm going to be in Denver. And then can I make it to Boston by Tuesday? Can I make it to Minneapolis by Thursday? Who can I sneak in this college game in Auburn on Saturday because I'm gonna shoot a Falcons game Sunday, so maybe I can make that work and scoot up there. And so I'm like, I'm drawing this tree basically every week of like, okay, where can I get to? And then I just have these relationships. The clients that I have are awesome. People kind of know like the restrictions in my schedule. And so like if I can or can't work this game, people are giving me hits like, yo, do you think you can work this game? Do you think you can jump on this game? The different shows that are happening too, because I mean now there's so many different shows on streaming platforms. And so these Hulu and Netflix and Amazon shows, I'm trying to jump on those too if I can. And so it turns into a lot. It's kind of crazy. I'm just trying to figure out like where I can be within a week and like how many different places I can be. But I mean, NFL is where I started, so that's kind of like every Sunday people know like that they're kind of like my OG client. So they get first dibs on Sundays, and then the rest of the week fills in from there.
Yeah. I mean, and like it is awesome to get to travel around and do all these games, do all these things, but that also, comes at a major toll that a lot of people don't see. You're constantly on planes, you're constantly away from home, puts more stress on, the people around you in your home life to, kind of help you out a little bit here and there. All these things that go on in the background that people don't see, they just see, these awesome highlights you get to shoot. How do you manage, keeping the schedule busy, wanting to take all these awesome gigs, but then also sort of the mental and physical tolls that it's going to take on you? How do you keep yourself motivated to do it? And what are some, I don't know if you want to say cautionary tales, but what is some advice you could give to some people that might be getting into this, traveling for work thing? And how can they, make sure that it's something that isn't just a flash in the pan, it's something that they can, hold on to for a long time and sustain?
I definitely say like traveling for work is not for everyone. Feel it out yourself for sure. There's different, I mean, there's things that I never even imagined being hurdles that I needed to overcome. Just different food available in different cities, different water in different cities, different allergies, different. I mean, those are just like the baseline thing. Different time zones. So if you're someone who likes routine, you're gonna need to somehow build a routine within this madness, and like whether you go to bed every single night the same way, the bed can change, but maybe your routine to go to sleep is the same. uh and then but for me a big thing is when I'm at work, I'm at work, and then the second that's over, I'm shut off, and I have to have a clear separation between like personal life and work. And so I really love to separate the two. Like the second the game's over and I walk out, it's my time at that point. And I really do have like strong mental barriers there. So I'm not just like always in it. When I come home, I'm hanging out with my friends, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend. Like we are not thinking about work. We're not, I don't know, like we don't really talk about sports that much. It's kind of ironic because I do love sports. I'm a huge sports fan. Like if like a funny meme or something pops up, yeah, but like we do like separate ourselves from it a lot. I live at the beach, so I just kind of like do that. That's kind of my thing. And that's my escape is just kind of going out there on the ocean and just kind of like floating away and. just escape. I think having that mental escape for me is very, very, very important. If not, I'd probably go crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, seriously. I know, and especially these days, man, it's so hard because, like we said, we've talked about how many times we talked about shots showing up on social media and whatnot. It's like every time you open your phone, it's like you're faced with your work, whether you want to be or not, even just on the entertainment level. So it's
Yeah.
got to be hard to get away from at times for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. Like, there's a season to it. So like right now, it's summertime. Uh, I'm not involved in baseball really right now. And I'm not really doing golf as much anymore. So right now, summer's pretty quiet for me. And so this has been really nice. I've just been on my own little summer break basically. And I know sports season's about to kick up here again, and so I'll dive back into it. But there is like a season to it, which kind of helps. There are these certain months where I'm all in, and then there's months that slow down and not as many games are happening. Football season ends and basketball season continues, and that slows down a little bit for me. And then once basketball season ends, I kind of just peace out for a while.
Right.
So I don't know. Like, I know a freelancer state of mind is always like chasing the next gig, chasing the next gig. Oh, if I'm not busy, I'm not succeeding, and I refuse to let myself think like that. Like, if the next call comes, sweet, but, like, I'm gonna take this time to myself, and it's okay to have a little downtime, it's okay to have a little quiet time, like, I don't know, peace out and turn the phone off for a while?
I really appreciate that sentiment because that's something I'm struggling with right now. I am
Mm,
absolutely like I'm drowning and it's 100% my own fault. And it's
mhm.
like
Saying yes to
that's what it is.
everything.
Yes, you're like cuz for so long, you're building the career and so you're used to, oh yeah, 100%. 100%. And then at a time
Yep,
you realize like, oh, you got to start saying no to some of these things. It's not going to work.
yep.
So yeah, I definitely appreciate and definitely stress the idea like please
Yeah,
take your time when you can,
yeah.
build in time for yourself because you can't you're not going to be at your best when you're run down and it's going to lead to problems for everybody.
That's the thing is, like, you're not gonna be at your best, and so, like, I don't know, like for shooting sports, for example, I think of it as a performance for me. Like, I need to go out there and I need to perform. These plays happen one time. There's a physical demand to it. The cameras are heavy, and I need to go out there and I need to perform. And people, are hoping that some awesome shot comes out of this. So if I'm not my best, then my product's going to start to slip, and then everything else starts to slip. So yeah, I mean, if I'm not taking care of myself and I'm overworking myself, then I could be getting more games, but then across the board, all my games suck and the footage isn't great. Like, what am I doing to my product at that point? Like,
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's hard on the body. And maybe, especially football, you're out in the elements, but then you get to switch it up and do something like basketball. You're more inside.
uh,
It's a little bit smaller of a court. What is the situation like shooting the NBA? I gotta imagine, with football, it's a big field. There's a lot of different places you could shoot from, and you can't
mhm.
really shoot the complete opposite end of the field like you can in basketball. So what is kind of the difference? What are you telling yourself? How do you kind of separate? Like if you have a football game on Sunday and then you have a basketball game on Monday, how do you kind of flip that switch? And what is your different, similar but also different process like for those?
Yeah, basketball it's a little different in the fact that it's continuous. So a play, I mean, in football, there's plays, and then there's a break in between plays, and so you could put your camera down in between the plays. But in basketball, it's back and forth. A team dunks on one end, and then the other team is quickly trying to respond to not let that team get momentum, so they're driving it back, trying to get their own shot on net. So like for basketball, I'm not able to put the camera down as much, so it's more strenuous on my back, I'd say. It works different muscles. Like football, I'm running up and down a lot, so it's more cardio, it's working my legs a lot more, I'm up and down more. Basketball, it's isolating the shooting muscles more, so it's isolating my upper back, it's isolating my lats more. My, like, right bicep is feeling it a lot more in basketball because I'm there in, like, a continuous shooting motion, and I'm not really putting the camera down because you never know when the highlight's gonna happen. And so, between the 2, I don't know, it's just about making sure I get enough recovery to shoot the next game. Um,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
the mindset doesn't change much. I mean, I am thinking a little bit about what muscles I have activated because I that's my style is I shoot through, my strength, I guess. I use my body to handle the camera. Um, so I am thinking about what muscles I have activated. But as far as like cinematic techniques, that's all depending on the game. That's all depending on the players. Like certain players run certain types of offenses that other players don't. Certain quarterbacks I know will never three-step drop corner fade. And so I'm not even going to worry about shooting that type of play. And similar in basketball, some players are known for their dunks. Some players are known for their layups. Some players are known for their threes. And you start to per game, I'm going to change the way I'm shooting based on the tendencies of those players. Uh, and that's across just any sport. So I could shoot 3 football games and shoot each one of them a different way based on the way the players play, you know?
Right, for sure. Yeah, and when you're talking about, the camera and all this, it's just made me think. It's sorry for anyone who's not a cinematographer or video person out there for a little insider baseball on this question, but some people are owner operators. They own their own camera, their own gear. Some people rent. Some people, it goes through the company. What is your situation? How does it kind of vary based on if you are an owner operator versus if you're not? Do you find that people prefer to hire owner operators? Obviously, when you're making an investment into cameras that cost tens of thousands of dollars, it's a big consideration of, am I going to be able to pay this back? So what are your thoughts on that, and what has your experience been like in that realm?
I personally am not an owner operator. I'm smiling because a lot of people get mad at me for that. They're like, "Oh, why haven't you bought a camera yet? Like, what are you doing, man?" Uh, and like, but for me, that's my angle. That's my approach. I work for so many different people that I use different cameras on each one of these different productions, and so for me, it'd be limiting to try to get my camera, if I bought like an Alexa 35, to try to get the 35 on every job that I work. For me, that's restricting, and I want to be able to put myself in as many different places as possible. And so, sometimes I'm shooting on a Sony Venice, sometimes I'm shooting on a Red, sometimes I'm shooting on an Alexa. The cameras change, but what I do doesn't. So that's my personal business approach. It's not the best way. It's not the wrong way. It's what I choose to do. I know a lot of people that are owner operators. They buy their camera, they buy like a lens set, and it seems to me like they have the clientele that they know they're going to get work for that gear, which is the best way to do it. Never buy a camera and expect to get hired because of that camera. Pro tip. Uh, um,
I love that. Yeah,
but
because people are thinking, like, especially when you're getting going, you're like, if I don't have a camera, I can't shoot. And like, of course, I'm like,
it's not true.
if you're building like a tiny, like, when you're first starting, get yourself something so you could show your work, all these things. But when you're getting into these bigger jobs where you're using these massive cameras, a lot of people think, oh well, and then you start doing all this sort of math gymnastics in your head, and like, well, if I get these jobs that pay this much more for my rental and X, Y, and Z, and all of a sudden you've convinced yourself to buy this camera. So I actually appreciate the perspective of it from someone who is like, no, I'm just going to hold off. We're going to use these different things for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. I. Yeah. I don't know. I do sub rent sometimes, so I will say that I have buddies who own cameras, and there are certain jobs where they'll call you and they want you to come with the gear, and that's okay. And I always tell people, what do you want? I can get you anything. I've got buddies with all different types of gear, different types of cameras. I sub rent from them. They give me the gear, and I basically work as an owner operator that way. But that hasn't happened enough for me to want to buy my own gear. Most of the time I'm coming into a production and they're saying, "Oh, sick, you don't have a camera? That's actually perfect because we have one here that we were hoping you'd be able to use." And then I'm like, "Okay, great. That works out for everybody."
Yeah, and that'll
And then
save
I have to
you. Yeah,
travel.
yeah, that'll
Yeah,
save you tens of thousands of dollars, and that's exactly it. And then traveling with gear is like
travel.
a whole other monster. It is. It's pretty
Yeah,
ridiculous. Yeah, I do like.
yeah.
I work on another podcast, and we travel all over. Shooting the interviews and stuff, and just on a small
Uh-huh.
level, like it's a bunch of FX3s, and but just traveling with lights and light stands and tripods and all this. It is the most miserable experience that anyone could ever
Oh
go through.
yeah.
So
How many cases are you up to right now?
oh man, well there's 3 of us that normally go, and then we each have 2 checked, cases, and it's
Uh-huh.
like, so we're both and then we were trying to like pack everything you need in a duffel bag that you could just kind of sling around you. And it's miserable. And then I'm thinking about you traveling 4 times a week, just trying to
Yes.
like lug it through the airport. Oh my God. Absolutely
Yes.
miserable. I could see it now.
Yeah.
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 There's a hard pass on that. But you know,
Yeah.
it's great. And so there's all these opportunities out there, you know, and like we've said, let's just wrap it, you know, right back to football, which we kind of glossed over the fact that you've shot over 10 Super Bowls at this point. You know, so if you can shoot 10 Super Bowls without needing to own a camera, I promise you that you can find gigs out there without buying the expensive equipment, please. But you've done some, and of, you know, I'm thinking of a lot of absolutely incredible games over that course of time that you've been shooting these Super Bowls. What has your experience been like shooting the Super Bowl? Are there some that stick out to you, whether they were a great game or just a really important time in your life? And every year when you go into the Super Bowl, what is kind of the mindset, you know, now that you've done it so many times, like how do you elevate your game?
The first Super Bowl for me was the 28-3 comeback, the
Wow.
Patriots Falcons. So that one will always hold a special place in my heart. I think that was the first overtime Super Bowl too.
Hmm.
So there were some historical marks there, and that was my first one. So that'll always be, you know, I don't know if I'll ever see a game that great again.
Right.
That was crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of those Brady Super Bowls were pretty awesome. I mean, I was there for when the Eagles beat them with the Nick Foles shootout. That was pretty cool. There was a shot there that I got. It was one of the only times that the moment has actually gotten to me. Um, it was near the end of the game. It was that strip sack where Brady fell to his butt, and he's just sitting there, and the Eagles picked up the ball and ran it in, and I held on Brady for that moment, and for whatever reason, I just like realized like I'm like holding on the goat as he's realizing that he just lost the Super Bowl. And I could like see the emotion that he was experiencing right there in that moment. And he put his head down, and like I was like, oh man, like this moment is like this is intense. And I actually started shaking. And like
Oh,
if
wow.
you watch the shot long enough, you start to see it like it's okay. And then it starts to get really shaky and like unusable, 'cause I was still young then, and I was just like, "Oh, man, like, like, this is nuts."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's wild.
so
I mean, yeah, and I'm a massive Eagles fan, so if it was me, the shot would have been unusable from the moment that he got stripped. I mean, it would have been that would have been ridiculous.
Uh,
Yeah.
nowadays, the Super Bowl, it's fun, because I just know it's the game that everyone's watching. And so if there and you just know every single play matters there. So a third quarter dropped pass in a regular season game might not mean much, but in the Super Bowl, that might be a defining moment of that story and that team's legacy. Every single play matters more. So in the Super Bowl, I don't know. The adrenaline's kicking a little bit more. It's a little more fun. Everything's a little more meaningful because the game just matters that much more. And you know all the documentaries that are going to come out about this game and breaking down this game every which way. And I want to be the person that gets that epic shot of what's happening on the field. Uh, like this past Super Bowl, I got a pretty awesome Gatorade shot. And I mean, I had shot Gatorade celebrations in the past, but this one, like the Gatorade, like poured over the dude's shoulder and like smacked into the camera, and it was epic. And I get back, and my friends in NFL are like, "Oh man, this is like one of the craziest shots we've ever seen. This is awesome." And I mean, maybe that doesn't happen if that for whatever reason were to happen at like a championship game or maybe like an end of the season game, but because it's the Super Bowl, everything just matters that much more. Uh, I don't know, yeah, Super Bowls are awesome for me now. I don't get nervous anymore, that's cool.
Yeah. No more
When I
no
was
more
younger
shaky shots.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's like when I'm getting something, I'm like, "Oh, cool, this is like what I should be doing. This is like why
Yeah.
I'm here."
That's great. Yeah, and you kind of mentioned, you know, you always have this sort of checklist of things, maybe in the back of your mind of like things that you want to try out, you know, that you're because now you've built this great foundation, so it's like I'm sure to some degree it's second nature. Like you know, you just your instinct and you're so in tune with what you're shooting that you pretty much have to go out of your way to say, let's kind of shake this up a little bit. Are there any things at top of mind that you're looking forward to this season of trying that maybe you haven't in the past?
Oh, that's a secret.
Oh, I
That's a
love it.
secret.
I love it.
That's a
I
secret.
can't give them away.
No, yeah, you'll
Yeah,
know. You'll know when there's a new something on the screen. You're like, oh, whoa, I didn't know that was possible. Because I
I
mean,
love it.
that's my goal. Is I'm trying to. I don't know. When I was at film school, I learned there were these rules of cinematography. And you can't do this because that's impossible. You can't do that because that's impossible. And then when I met these shooters at NFL Films, they were like breaking every rule that I had ever heard of. It was like these people pull their own focus, but they're shooting on like an f4 and they're shooting on like an 800 millimeter prime. And we're talking about tracking the fastest moving athletes in the world on a plane of focus that's like 6 inches.
Hmm.
And, and to achieve that at a 99% rate, like that's, I don't know, that gets the juices flowing for me. So it's about like I try to take that mentality and I'm like, what's impossible or what are we like? What are people not doing now? What's like the next I don't know thing that I could like push this camera to? Because the football field is the ultimate canvas. I mean, there's epic stuff happening. There's awesome stadium lights. You have like the awesome athletes in front of you, all in their full uniform. I mean, it's everything. The stage is set for you. I just get to go out there and play with the camera. So I'm definitely trying to think of like different ways to push those limits. But yeah,
Oh, I'm
to
excited
be
to see
seen.
it. I'm
Yeah,
excited to see it. Yeah, I mean, and you're so
yeah.
right. I think, personal opinion, I think football is the greatest. It's the greatest fanfare in sports in terms of like spectacle. You know what I mean? It's
Uh-huh.
got to be in my mind. It would be the thing that I would want to shoot. It's just it's hard to. Like you don't have to try too hard to like make this look awesome. You know what I mean? Like you just
Right.
do what you do, and you know that it's gonna look how it should. And real quick before we head on, I just want to talk quickly about you talked about going to film school and the rules of cinematography and all these things. And I think there's a large debate around creative schools throughout the industry, and two, I think people always talk about you don't have to you don't need to learn the rules of X, Y, and Z because you can break them all you want. But I think it's also important to know what the rules are and why you're breaking the rules to do it in a way that's meaningful. What are your opinions on people coming up, going to school, not going to school? How do you think that people should be educating themselves to land these sorts of jobs in a world where you don't necessarily have to go to college, but there's obviously so many benefits to it? I'm sure it's a person to person argument, but what are some of your opinions on people getting their career started?
Yeah, for sure. It's all based on the individual. Like for me, college was necessary. Like when I went to film school, I didn't know what an f-stop was. I had never heard of shutter speed. I had never heard of anything. Like I was in TV production in high school. I put my camera on auto and I went and made funny videos with my friends. Like I had no idea how to like actually use a camera. So for me, college was important because I learned all of these technical things that allowed me to like actually become a professional in the field. But if you can teach that to yourself, like more power to you. And like for shooting sports, yeah, I got the internship at NFL Films, but is the internship what landed me the shooting gig? No. What landed me the shooting gig was going out and shooting football on my own time, showing them that I could shoot football. And there are lots of shooters. I mean, there's also lots of different companies. There's more companies than just NFL Films out there shooting a football game. And they all have their own individual background, but at the very least, they all shot football at some point in time. So it's definitely like it's almost necessary to teach yourself to a certain extent. College isn't necessary, but maybe it is for you. For me, it was. I'm not going to sit here and say I'd be here without it because that'd be a lie. Now that I know everything that I needed to learn, I can think back and go, oh, I could have done this without college, but I know that I would have never done that. So to each their own. Like if you have that in you and you can figure out the things to learn, awesome. And it also depends on like who you're trying to work for because certain clients or certain businesses they want to see that degree on the resume for you to get the internship or for you to get the position in the door if you're trying to work for a large company, maybe a network like Fox or CBS or something. Like maybe they require a bachelor's degree in media or something, maybe that's a hiring check mark for them. Whereas if you're working as a freelancer and you're just picking up gigs, I mean, I've never once had someone ask me what my college education was, to ask where I went to school. So I'd say like who you're working for definitely matters. Everything is just so situational that there's really not a wrong answer. I think if you're just trying to grow in any way, shape, or form, whatever you can to the best of your ability, to the most of your means, like if you're putting yourself in a spot to potentially get hired one day for what you want to do, like that's all you can do, and you just keep on that trajectory. Because like for me, I always talk about windows of opportunity, and when you get those windows of opportunity, you have to be ready for them. And whether that's your a tryout to get to shoot for NFL, whether that's an interview to get a gig, or whether that's just getting like a gig with a potential client who might hire you more down the road. We all have these windows of opportunity in our career that if we're ready for it, then we grab onto it and it could launch our career. Uh, Whether how you prepare for that is up to you. I don't know. Like school, not school. I don't think there should be that much of a debate on it. If it works for you, it works for you. Like
Right. Yeah, and I definitely want to highlight too there, you mentioned, you went out, you wanted to shoot football, you went out and you shot football. No one had to tell you to shoot football, no one had to pay you to shoot football. Like I think that's the other thing is
yeah,
certainly know your worth, certainly make sure you're being paid for your work at a point, but also let's not gloss over the fact that free work can be beneficial. So if you look at something and you say, hey, this could be great for my portfolio, could be great for my reel, could be a great way to meet people, connect, consider shooting for free, consider doing these things for free, because I think that's another thing people are talking about. Oh, you can't, you're bringing down the market if you're shooting for free and all these things, which again, there are certainly truths to the argument, but like let's also realize there's benefits is all I really want to say.
yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think it's. I mean, be honest with yourself. Honestly, like I think you have to earn to get paid. So like I mean, I wasn't going out and shooting shows for free. I was grabbing like an old tape camera and going out to a high school football field. And I talked to the coach and said, hey, if I get some highlights, I'll give it to your team and you can like use these shots if you want it. I'm not like shooting for like a production that's going to be aired on TV. I think if it were something like professional like that, yes, absolutely. Like pay me.
Right.
But no, like if I'm going out there and I'm just calling up high schools and I'm like, hey, can I come shoot your game? Because I want to work for the NFL one day, and, like, I'm just hoping they say yes. And, like, I'm not hoping to get money out of that. And then if I can offer a trade in services and be like, "Oh, yeah." I mean, I did this all the time. That's how I shot all these high school games. I called up these athletic directors or coaches. I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to work for the NFL one day. Can I come out and shoot your games? I don't know if any of the footage is gonna be good, but if it is, you can have it." Uh, and, like, really no money involved, but, like, I'm happy to help out with footage. I'm just hoping to get access because access is, like, the most valuable thing when you're trying to learn, trying to get those reps. Y Charging people, I mean, it just yeah, no, it all depends on what you're doing. If I were working for, like, a legitimate production, they're like, "Hey, we wanna hire you on as an AC or a cam op," I'm definitely charging for that. I mean, that's a service, that's a job.
Right.
When you're trying to get reps and build a skill, that's different, yeah.
Right, for sure. Closing tradition for the show. The show is called Someday Soon. For you, what falls into that someday soon category, and how is that thing going to propel you forward to help you achieve some of your long-term goals?
Well, if I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm here. So, someday soon is maintenance right now. It's trying to maintain the life that I have. It's maintaining my body. It's maintaining my mind, and like I'm where I want to be. I don't know. I don't really have much I want to work towards right now, and I think that's okay. I'm where I want to be. I'm happy with the jobs I'm getting. I'm not really looking for anything much more. And the someday soon is I just hope to be doing this for a while now. I mean, I feel like I'm in what people would call the prime of what I'd hope this career to be. My body is good, my health is good, and so I'm just someday soon, I just hope this can last for as long as possible. Right now, I'm enjoying the ride, man.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, tie it right back in. It's like what we talked about. You don't always have to be doing the next thing just because that's what everyone's saying. Oh, the rule of freelancing is you just got to keep saying yes. You just got to keep doing the thing. I love that. Just
Nah, man.
being content where you are, being looking around and saying this is pretty nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
awesome. 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 Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. Really appreciate your time today. Guys, thank you so much for watching the episode. We'll be back next week. We'll see you next time.